got really good at packing, not just physically, but mentally. I learned how to leave places without fully settling into them, how to walk into a new environment already prepared to adapt. New schools, new routines, new expectations, and I learned early that staying flexible mattered more than getting comfortable. Adaptation wasn't a skill I chose, it was something I practiced out of necessity. Growing up, I moved around a lot, and because of that, the idea of home never felt solid. It was always temporary, a place you pass through, not a place you build. Just when something started to feel familiar, it was time to adjust again. New people, new versions of myself, but still the same process. When I first came to North Carolina, I honestly didn't think it'd be any different. I've always been more of a city person. I like movement, I like noise, I like things constantly happening around me. North Carolina felt quiet, rural, country, and my first thought was that this was just another place I'd have to adapt to. At the beginning, I treated North Carolina the same way I treated everywhere else. I kept my expectations low and temporary. I adjusted myself to fit into the environment instead of letting the environment shape me. I didn't expect consistency, and I didn't expect stability, but something different happened. North Carolina didn't ask me to constantly change. It didn't rush me or keep shifting underneath me. Instead, it stayed consistent. And for the first time, I wasn't in survival mode. Stability showed up quietly, recognizing the roads instead of checking directions, knowing where I was going to school, having routines that didn't have to reset every couple months. I wasn't always scanning for what was coming next. And once I wasn't busy adapting, I had space to grow. One moment that was really clear that when I moved into my first apartment, it sounds simple, but it wasn't. For the first time, I walked into a space that felt like home, and it was mine. Not borrowed, not temporary, but mine. I remember staying there, realizing I didn't have to adjust myself to fit into the space. I could build the space around me. I could settle, and I could stay. That moment wouldn't have meant the same thing anywhere else. In North Carolina, it felt symbolic, and it was proof that I wasn't just adapting anymore. I was building something. From there, growth felt continuous instead of interrupted. I started settling long-term goals instead of just getting through transitions. I committed to things. The slower pace that I once thought I wouldn't like, ended up being exactly what I needed. It gave me room to think, reflect, and actually notice any progress. Over time, I became more confident, more disciplined, more intentional. North Carolina gave me the environment to grow exponentially, not because it pushed me forward, but because it finally stayed still long enough for me to grow roots. I started achieving goals here that once felt like distance, academic goals, personal goals tied to independence and responsibility. And what made that meaningful wasn't just achieving them, but having the chance to build towards them over time. North Carolina also taught me patience. Growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens through routines, small wins and setbacks. Instead of constantly adapting to change, I learned how to plan, reflect, and move forward with purpose. And now, when I think about home, it isn't blurry anymore. I don't have to think about it. I never would have thought that the place I assumed I wouldn't like would become the place where I feel more grounded. After years of adapting, I finally found a place where I don't have to. That's why this is a tribute to North Carolina, not just as a state, but as the first place that gave me stability, growth, and the freedom to become myself without constantly starting over. For the first time, home feels real. It feels stable. Thank you.